Welcome to Moments with Marianne. This is your host, Marianne Pastana, and we're here today with special guest, Officer John Cunningham, who's here to share with us OHV Safety Week. Did you know that for a limited time, you can get free ATV, dirt bike, and ROV training in California? Here to break this down for us is Officer John Cunningham, Chief Ranger with California State Parks, and he's here to share how free training and smart preparation can make off-highway riding safer for everyone. California State Parks, the ATV Safety Institute, and the Recreational Off-Highway Vehicle Association are celebrating Off-Highway Vehicle Safety Week through November 23rd with statewide events, guided trail rides, safety demonstrations, free ATV, dirt bike, and ROV training for California residents. So welcome to the show, Officer John Cunningham.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Well, what an honor it is to have you here and to talk about this. So what are some best practices riders should be aware of before hopping on an ATV?
I think the first thing is to make sure you got all your riding gear on. You got your helmet on, you got your boots on, you're wearing the appropriate clothing. You've got a plan in place. You've had your training, and you're ready to have a good time.
Well, I think we all can sign up for that, and I'd love to go through these details with you because while we know that we need a helmet, are we supposed to use special helmets?
Generally, they should be DOT approved because those are going to provide the most amount of safety.
Oh, that's awesome to know. And so with the rest of our gear, what are we looking for that to be as well? Does it have to be meet like a certain standard?
As far as like the other safety equipment, there's no real standard. Only the DOT standard only pertains to helmets. So like your boots, there's a lot of variations in motocross style boots. There's gloves, riding jerseys. They're all made of different thicknesses. The pants are all different styles and different thicknesses for different purposes. So there's really no standardization as far as those are concerned.
Okay, well, that's good to know. So, from a ranger's perspective, what are some things we need to do to prepare for a safe ride?
Like I said before, make sure you're wearing all your protective equipment, your helmet, your gloves, your goggles, your boots, your long pants, your long sleeve shirts. Your vehicle's in good running condition. You've got a plan, you've got water, you've got snacks, and you carry a map. You know exactly where you are, depending on where you're recreating, whether you're in an SVRA or you're on BLM or Forest Service property. Just know where you're at.
And there's a lot there that we should be aware of because sometimes when we're on BML land property, we're not supposed to be in certain areas.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice to stay on designated trails. Read the signs that you're traveling on. Obviously, we're not cutting fences. We're not going in places that are where OHVs are prohibited.
So, what off road safety tips would you like to share with us?
First and foremost, with our campaign this year, Ride to Ride Again, safety or OHV safety training is paramount. A lot of new users benefit greatly from all this free training in the state of California at SVRAs. You can go to rideohv.com to find out, figure out what the venues are, what the dates and times are.
My goodness, that's so important. I know the first time I was on an ATV, I was just kind of thrown onto it, not really knowing we're out in the desert in Glamis, had no idea about it, kind of learned, but how important it is to have that training. That makes such a big difference.
Absolutely. It just starts the culture of operating the machine safely and then also riding safely while you're on the trails.
So, do you have any kind of checklist for children so they can like really get in the habit of safe riding?
So when they take these specified, whether it be ATV, dirt bike, or ROV or side by side training, there is a portion of that training that goes over a pre-ride checklist for the vehicle and the operator as well.
So, what are some things on the checklist? Do you have that in mind?
There's things like, as far as the machine or the OHV is concerned, I mean, you check the fuel, check the oil, check the chain tension, check the tires. Just make sure that the vehicle is functioning properly before you head out on your trail ride. And then also, as far as safety equipment, make sure the helmet strap functions. Make sure your goggles are clear. Make sure everything fits correctly. and make sure you've got a backpack or some kind of a storage container that can hold water, because this is a very physically strenuous sport, and water's again very important.
Well, you're a very experienced writer. What are some things you like to take with you?
A toolkit. That's probably the most important thing that I like to carry, because who knows what's going to happen when you're 20 to 30 miles from the truck. Um, More water than I'll ever drink, snacks. Um, Sometimes, if depending on the weather or the weather forecast, I'll bring a layer of like a light jacket in case it's going to rain. Because the weather does change when you're up in the mountains or in the desert. It does get windy, so you want to prepare yourself for weather conditions that could become adverse.
That's all important to know. You don't want to get stuck somewhere, and it's tough when you have an ATV and you're out in the middle of nowhere to get help.
Yeah, it's you might be there for a while. It's why it's always important. I mean, bring a cell phone, know where you're at, tell somebody where you're going to be, what your plan is for the day. Um, it's just communication is key, especially when you're so far from civilization.
Now, is it mandatory to have training before you ride an ATV? Is that the law?
It is the law when you're under the age of 18. You need to have a ASI certification or be supervised by a parent or guardian that has an ASI certification.
Well, that's really important to know. And how about etiquette? I'm sure there's trail etiquette, and for a lot of folks that may be new, what should they be aware of?
First and foremost is state of the right. You know, just like your traffic laws on the highway, state of the right. There's sometimes there could be opposing traffic. There could be blind spots on the trail. So you want to stay to the right and give yourself and the other recreators enough room to pass safely. And then also when you're in staging areas or campgrounds, let's keep the speed down to 5 miles an hour, because people are trying to hang out and enjoy themselves and maybe eat some food, and sandwiches with real sand in them are not that enjoyable.
They are not at all. I think anyone that's been in the desert riding knows that sand gets everywhere. The last place you want it is in your food.
Exactly.
Oh my goodness. Well, and so for areas that have paved roads, do we need to be mindful of that as well?
Absolutely. So if you're riding an OHV and it's not street legal, you should avoid operating on pavement. These vehicles are not rated to be operated on pavement, which is going to create a somewhat dangerous situation, because they handle much differently on asphalt than they do on dirt and sand.
So is there an age limit for riders?
I mean, as long as they can reach all the controls and do so safely, they can operate an OHV. But again, it starts with training, so it's not a good idea to throw a 5-year-old on an ATV or a dirt bike that they don't have any experience with, and just kind of leave them to their own devices. It can become very dangerous very quickly.
For families that have that as part of their family kind of like culture where they're riding at young ages, it's a little bit different.
I mean, it can be. Maybe they're more involved in it, and they're gaining more experience at a faster pace. Because if you're riding every weekend, kids will adapt very quickly to these fun toys. But if you're riding, once or twice a year, and you think that the young inexperienced child is going to be able to, I guess, take to this sport quickly, it takes time. I mean, there's a lot of controls involved. There's different kinds of throttle, brakes on with your foot and your hand. There's a clutch. There's a lot of things they're difficult to navigate, especially when you're riding in uneven terrain.
So, for folks that can't make it to an in person course, do they have online courses?
Unfortunately, there is an online portion to the ASI, the MSF, and the ROVA course. There's an online instructional period, but it's very tactile. You've got to actually operate the machine for a lot of the classroom stuff to actually make sense.
Well, that makes sense because I mean, you want to get on the machine, get used to it, be able to ride it, and show that you can do that.
Well, yeah, and it's just practice makes perfect, right? So repetition, just going over and over the manipulations on how to make a machine do what you want it to do.
Well, and so where can people go again, officer, to learn more about this wonderful event that we have going on right now?
So there's two websites. There's rideohv.com, and then there's also our California State Park website of ohv.parks.ca.gov.
Well, Officer John, thank you so much for taking the time to be on the show with us here today.
You're very welcome. Thank you for having me.
Make sure to visit rideohv.com or responsiblerecreation.org for more information. Well, we're at the end of our time today. I'd like to thank everyone for tuning in. You've been listening to Moments with Mary Ann, where we make every moment count.
In a single moment, your life can change. Moments with Mary Ann is a transformative hour that covers an endless array of topics with the best of the best. Her guests are leaders in their fields, ranging from inspirational authors, top industry leaders, and business and spiritual entrepreneurs. Each guest is gifted and a true visionary. A recognized leader in her own work, and while teaching others to develop, refocus, and grow, Mary Ann will bring the best guest and sometimes a special surprise. Don't miss this. You never know just which moment will change your life forever. Make sure to tune in and visit momentswithmaryann.com for more information.